Are you really worth 25 million like Google says? Well, I don't know where Google got that number, but what I will say is a lot of people don't know there's actually another Brian Shaw that played in the NBA and then ended up being a coach in the NBA. Ironically enough, I actually have his autograph from when I was a kid. I looked up to him a lot. And I know that he is worth a good amount of money. Now, what I will say is you putting that out there and saying 25 million is a good goal. And I will work for that so that one day I can say that I am worth that. What's the favorite thing to do in a competition? So I'm assuming here that you are wondering what my favorite strongman event is, or if I like competing. I would say my favorite thing to do at a competition is to compete. I mean, I'm a very, very competitive individual, and I have always loved competing. So that would be first and foremost, but I'm also going to pick an event for you. This is hard for me because I really do love so many of the events. That being said, I'm going to go with a heavy arm over arm pull, and I haven't got to do that in the World's Strongest Man final since the contest was held in Malta in 2009, and that was kind of my entrance, if you will, to the World's Strongest Man final. I went out after Mariusz Pudzianowski on that event, and everybody thought he was kind of untouchable, that he was going to win that event, and I ended up beating his time fairly easily and won that event, got myself back in the competition. So that particular event has a special place in my heart, and it has not been in the World's Strongest Man final since 2009, which is not great, but I will say I would love to see it back in the World's Strongest Man final this year. So who knows? We'll see. What time frame is Evolution Athletics going live for the public? That is a great question. We're working very hard on getting a launch date, but before we say an official date, we want to make sure that everything is lined up so that we're not announcing a date and then pushing it back. What I will say, it is coming soon. We're shooting for sometime around the Arnold for it to be completely live. I don't know if that will fall before the Arnold or possibly slightly after the Arnold, but that is our goal. And as soon as we have a official date, I promise I will let you know. Very excited about that. So much hard work has gone on behind the scenes to get it to where it's at right now. And I'm very excited to share that with all of you. So if you want to sign up, that would be the best way on the website. We have a landing page up. It's just evolutionathleticsgear.com. So you can go and put your email, and we will send any news out to all the email addresses that are there. And you can also follow it on Instagram at Evolution Athletics Gear as well. So really excited for all of that. And I promise I will update all of you as soon as I possibly can with the official launch date. Has Brian been invited to the Arnolds by Arnold himself? Thought he said that. Now, I'm really happy to address this question. Overall, I went out to Santa Monica to qualify. That was my main goal, and that just didn't work out. I mean, it was a bad competition day for me, but the bottom line is I came up 1 point short. I took second place there, and it was kind of between me and Martins. Martins ended up qualifying for the Arnold based on the rule system and the qualification system that is in place currently. Now, there was some talk after the contest, actually even before the contest, about how we could possibly have me in the contest, Martins in the contest as well, and I don't know if that was coming directly from Arnold. I don't want to be quoted as saying that, but I know that Arnold was involved in that discussion. And Arnold definitely wanted me to compete at the Arnold. I mean, it's something where, at the end of the day, this is a sport, and the fans, want to see certain athletes there. And, I have a lot of great people, all of you that follow me, and wanted to see me compete at the Arnolds. And so I didn't qualify, that was, you know, something where I think there were some people involved that were like, wow, this is not good for our competition, that Brian's not going to be there. And, you know, my thoughts stepping back from the contest are that based on the qualification system, I didn't qualify. So I have not, and I will say this again, I have not been offered a spot by Arnold or anybody with the Arnold. They've not reached out to me. And if they were to reach out to me, I just want to make this very clear that I would not accept the invite to compete in Ohio, strictly based on the fact that I wouldn't feel right about it because I didn't qualify based on the system that was in place. So I want to make that very clear, that I have not received an invite. I know that in the video, I actually, in the moment when Arnold came over after the competition, I didn't even realize what he had said until we looked at the footage afterwards, and he said he was going to overrule it. So none of that has come through, and so I will not be in Ohio competing. I'm sorry to anybody that was excited, you know, for me to be there. But what I will say is, stepping back, I personally think that things happen for a reason, and I really think that I've been given a golden opportunity to not have to focus on training for the Arnolds, and now I can only focus on training for World's Strongest Man, which in my career I have literally never been able to do. I've never been able to not train for the Arnold and only focus on training for World's Strongest Man and peaking for World's Strongest Man, especially since the contests move closer, where World's Strongest Man, when I first started competing in both contests, World's Strongest Man was actually held around September, and then the Arnold's always been at the beginning of March. So once they move World's Strongest Man up to, I mean, 1 year it was literally at the end of March or April or May or June, I've never been able to sit out of the Arnold and train only for World's Strongest Man. So I think that, you know, in hindsight, there were some weird things that happened in the contest, and I'm not going to break all of that down, but there was a lot of areas that I dropped points that I was really confused about why I dropped points. But in the end, like I said, I think it worked out for a reason, and I am very positive about that. I'm actually very excited about it, because when it comes to strongman, it comes to a measuring stick. At the end of the day, and this is nothing against the Arnold Classic, nothing against any other major strongman competition, but my measuring stick is how many World's Strongest Man titles I've won in my career when I'm done. I mean, I've won the Arnold in Ohio 3 times. I think I've won 10 or 11 other Arnolds, like collectively around the world. But I don't say that to anybody. I say that I've won World's Strongest Man 4 times, and that's it. So for me, at this point in my career, adding a 5th World's Strongest Man title, I would pick that above anything else. Winning the Arnold even, you know, 2 or 3 or 4 more times, it wouldn't matter to me if I could add my 5th World's Strongest Man title. That would be the biggest accomplishment, and it would mean the most to me personally. So, like I said, I think I've been handed that opportunity. Now, that's what I'm trying to do, and I will, without a doubt, I promise you, I will come into World's Strongest Man better than I have been in a long, long time. My focus is only on that, and I'm promising you guys that I'm going to bring the best package to that competition that I possibly can. So hopefully that answers your question. That, you know, that wraps it up, and that kind of puts any confusion that's out there to rest about me doing the Arnold, or if I got a special invite or anything like that. So I have not, and at this point, I wouldn't accept a special invite even if it were to come. Will you let Eddie Hall test drive the Shelby? That, I don't even have to think about as a no. I would not trust Eddie with that truck in any way, shape, or form. I've seen him do things, and I think we were riding around, it was either in a minivan or like an SUV, and that had no power whatsoever, and somehow he was able to get that out of control. And every time I've ridden around with Eddie, I've actually been pretty scared in general. I would not call him a great driver or a safe driver, so no, he will not be test driving my truck. Why don't you like mirrors in the gym? You mentioned in a video, and I was wondering why. Just wanted to say you're an amazing role model and keep it up. Well, thank you very much. I very much appreciate that. When it comes to mirrors in a gym, my basic thought process there is that if there's a mirror, somebody working out tends to want to look in it, and it can be a distraction. So that's really, at the end of the day, mirrors are pretty much just a distraction and can take away from focus in training. And so, for me, when I've got myself in the gym, I've got the guys training with me, it can be fun to have a mirror as well. I'm not going to lie about that. But if anything, I right now I've only got a mirror above the dumbbells, and probably in my new gym, I will put a mirror above the dumbbells, and that'll be about it, just because I don't really want those distractions. I mean, maybe if I was training for, bodybuilding or something like that, and really needed to assess my physique and see how I looked and stuff like that, maybe it would be a little bit more important. But, when it comes down to being strong, you just need to focus on lifting and stay focused on lifting. So it really comes down to how do the weights feel, how are they moving, and most of that you're not going to be able to tell by looking in a mirror. Who's the strongest man to never win World's Strongest Man? Well, that is a great question, and there is certainly a list of guys that can have their name added, where they came close and they didn't quite win. I am going to say O.D. Wilson, and most of you may not know who O.D. Wilson is, but in 1990 he was actually leading World's Strongest Man. In my opinion, was the strongest man there, and they did as the last event literally a 400 meter, so one time around a track, race with some bricks, and O.D. was a very large man. And that was not a great event for him. And so he literally lost, I think he might have had a 7-point lead or 8-point lead or something like that going into that final event. And because they put that event in, he literally lost the World's Strongest Man title because John Paul Sigurdsson was so much faster, so much more athletic. But OD definitely was stronger, and I think that's kind of a general consensus across the board. So I will say OD Wilson. I'm not going to throw any other names out there. I mean, there's definitely some guys, if you ask me a list of the guys that are the strongest to have never won, I would add some names. But since you asked me who the strongest is, in my opinion, it would be OD Wilson.